Hello and welcome to HCISD Highlight. Today we are at the EMT Academy and I am here with Mr. Frank Tafolla.
Hello.
So thank you so much for joining us today. So tell us, what is EMT Academy?
Okay, the EMT Academy started about 6-7 years ago. We want to produce EMTs, meaning emergency medical technicians. They perform a variety of skills and they respond to different calls. For example, they respond to a lot of medical calls and they respond to a lot of traumatic calls. So it varies depending on the situation.
What certifications do you offer EMT?
So the EMT, after they leave from here, and they will receive a National Registry of Emergency Medical Technician. That's a NREMT certification. That's nationwide. And with that, once they get their national certification, they go on and getting their state certification.
What inspired you to become EMT, and then how is it in high pressure situations?
Okay, what inspired me to become an EMT, I used to work at a bank before. I was 5 years into working, and firefighters would come when they told me later on what they actually did about responding to the calls, and every day is not the same thing. It's always something different. So that caught my interest. And as far as what you asked, as far as how do I handle the stresses that comes with the job, so it's just being exposed to it a lot. You have to be exposed to something all the time to overcome fears. There's a saying that I always revert to, and it says, do the thing you fear and the death of fear is certain. So every time I was scared to do a call, I would force myself to, hey, I want to take that call, only because of the fact that I knew at some point I'd have to overcome that fear. And just being out there. If hiding and doing away or trying to not take those emergency calls was not going to help me, it was just going to hinder me, and it was not going to build me up to be the paramedic that I would be later on in the future. If that makes sense.
That sounds very stressful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I got to deal with a lot of, coming upon scene. You have family members looking at you and yelling at you, hurry up, you're taking too long, you better help my family member. Those are things you have to encounter. You have to learn how to talk to all age groups in different situations, how to comfort somebody who's just lost a family member. How do you approach that? We have to be like a counselor. We have to, we're so many roles that we play and for that emergency medical technician. Respiratory therapist, we have to learn how to do CPR, we have to learn how to read rhythms, cardiac rhythms. I mean, there's so much that entails for emergency medical technician.
Well, commend you on your work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tafolla.
Mr. Ortega, thank you very much, sir.
For joining. And then next up, we are coming in with EMT students. Welcome back to HCISD Highlight. I'm Luis Ortega, and here we are with
Jerry Rivera.
So, what skills have you learned at the EMT Academy?
I've learned a lot of skills, like how to manage the patient while carrying them. So while carrying them, I need to consider C-spine, like if they have fallen on their neck or have like any injuries around their spinal cord area. I've also learned how to palpate and blood pressure. So all the normal stuff like CPR, just how to save a basic life, how to check life signs, all the basics.
Impressive. What have been the most challenging parts of EMT Academy?
The most challenging parts of the EMT Academy, I'd have to say patient assessment. It's like when you get there beforehand and when you get there, it's trying to figure out what symptoms they have and finding out what caused it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds very stressful when you just come off the ambulance.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Stay tuned for another EMT student. So, we're back here again with another student. I'm here with
Agent Kumpian.
Thank you very much for joining us today. So, what is a day like at EMT Academy?
A day like here at the EMT Academy is a lot of skills outside, and then we go inside, we work on our notebook. There's about one chapter a week, and we do a lot of reading and writing to make sure we remember everything that we need to remember.
So, what is it like to train?
We do our skills outside. We work on loading the stretcher into the ambulance. We do backboard lifts. We do a lot of different carries. Outside of the EMS facility, we need to make sure we are fit so we don't get injured. The way I make sure I'm fit so I don't get injured is a lot of wrestling, and I stay conditioned for what I need to do.
So you train to become an EMT one day?
Yeah.
That wraps everything up. Here we are with another EMT student. Here we are with
Jasmine Hernandez.
an EMT student. And do you have any plans of pursuing a career as an EMT?
No, I don't, but I do want to pursue something in the medical field. This class is definitely something that other people should try out. I didn't know what this class was, but it's definitely something different, and it's not that easy, but once you know what you're doing, then it's pretty easy.
And then what are the 3 qualities that make a great EMT?
The 3 qualities that make up an EMT is being compassionate, taking leadership. That one definitely, because you need to know what you're doing once you get to the scene. And then the last one is definitely being respectful.
Thank you so much for joining us today. That ends off HCISD Highlight. I'm Ortega. See you next time.